And all I'm checking for there is I'm making sure that the top of our reel seat and our arbor is tight as well as the bottom, because you may have some instances where the taper of a blank is a good bit different than the taper of your reel seat or the taper of your reamer. And you may have some wiggle room at the top but be tight at the bottom, or vice versa. And you may need to go ahead and flip your reel seat around, or if it's a grip, flip your grip around to make sure that you're staying snug on both ends of the grip. And there's not a whole lot of room actually for that arbor. It's going to be so thin. All right, what I'm doing here is just I'm going to show you how to do it just by hand as opposed to having it in a drill. It's the same thing. Being that there's not a whole lot of room for this arbor in between our reel seat and our blank, meaning that there wasn't a lot of play. Some there'll be a good amount of play, so where your arbor may actually be up to a quarter of an inch thick around your blank. In this case, it's really thin, maybe an eighth of an inch. And as opposed to just running it through the drill, and being that our epoxy is good and cured, it probably wouldn't crack. But doing it by hand, we know that our arbor in there, we can go nice and easy, and our arbor is not going to crack. But the drill is the way to go, if you ask me. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, perfect. I've got a nice snug fit. There's no tape between our reel seat and our blank. Tape is heavier than the polyurethane. It doesn't transfer vibration. Polyurethane is great at both. It's light, and it's, like I said, it's a hard sell. So that vibration almost gets amplified right into your hand, where tape will kind of kill it. Before we epoxy it, I'm going to slide our reel seat all the way down, clean off a spot, and I've got a mess here with all this cork. I'm going to take my China marker, and I'm going to mark the top of my reel seat. So in other words, where the reel seat will stop. That's how I'm going to know where to stop. Stuff set up pretty quick on me. We've got it good and spread out all the way up to our mark, the China marker. Want a good strong bond all the way through. It's going to bond that reel seat directly to the blank. Make sure it doesn't twist or spin off. And more importantly, there'll be no dead spots, no air underneath that blank. As you know, air doesn't transfer sensitivity. But a solid epoxy will. Push that down on there. This epoxy is a little set up already, but push that down. Give it a spin. And there you have it. Our reel seat's epoxied on our blank. Now that we've got our reel seat on there, we're ready to go ahead and add our cork rings to build our foregrip. It's the same process. Just going to take our glue, put it on our blank. Make sure we get it all the way around. We want a good solid bond. I know I keep saying that, but it's crucial. You don't want your grip sliding around or being squishy on you. And then again, the more you're in direct contact with your blank, the more sensitive your rod's going to be. And it's all the little things that make a difference. Now, by making these grips or our rings fit nice and snug, we don't have any excess epoxy in there adding weight. But by putting enough epoxy, we eliminate room for air and error per se, and just it's the right way to do it. So slide our first ring down nice and snug. And they'll all firm up when we put them in the clamp. But building your own handle from cork rings is just one more aspect, if you choose to do it, that you can really customize your rod. Definitely takes more time, but you can, like I said, you can get better cork, different colors, plus the added involvement of knowing that you didn't just buy a pre-formed cork handle, you actually made it. Just a little more epoxy on the blank. We're good to go. There's our cork ring handle, graphite reel seat, which we made from our wooden insert and our graphite hoods. We made our own foregrip here. There's a custom cork ring handle. Now we're going to stick it in a cork clamp, let it cure, and we'll come back and shape it. Before we stick our handle in our cork ring clamp, we want to make sure we've got our spine aligned up with our reel seat. Again, this is absolutely paramount, it is key. So all I'm going to do is just draw an imaginary line between the hoods and the reel seat and our mark on the spine. And just look down the blank. Just try to shoot it. You want a straight line between your reel seat, where your hoods are sticking, which is where your reel is going to be, and the mark that we have on the blank. Tweak this a little bit. Looks pretty good. I mean, you can drive yourself crazy trying to be dead on, but you really want to be as close as you can. That looks good.